Hey guys, and welcome back. So is the war finally over at SM Entertainment? The co-CEO, the nephew-in-law, Chris Lee, or Sung-soo by his Korean name, dropped his second YouTube video. Now, it looked like he got a lot of flack maybe for the production quality of his first video, and it looked like he went back and re-recorded because it wasn't exactly the bullet points that seemed like it would have been a continuation from the first video. It had a lot more new information that was in response to what went on Friday, Korea time. There were a lot of developments that we need to go over. But is the war over, or is this sort of like a little bit of a head fake that comes straight out of a K-drama where you pretend like you're saying like, I give up? Because he basically said that he's going to step down as CEO at the next board meeting next month, and he just wants to go back to producing. So I know a lot of you guys are split on the whole Hybe taking over SM versus SM maintaining its independence and having Kakao be its partner. And I know a lot of you guys are also split on how you feel about this nephew-in-law. Was he a co-conspirator during the time of Lee Soo-man's reign? And why is he now just speaking out? Other people who are a little bit more conservative about this family drama are saying like he running his mouth, he's embarrassing. Everybody, I think you guys have made extremely valid points. But basically he was saying that, look, you guys, we want to emphasize how much we do not like this situation with Hybe coming in. And he outlined it in the sense of, please understand that we believe this is a hostile M&A, or more of like a acquisition. And he also wanted his uncle to acknowledge that he's acting on not the company's best interest, but in terms of like admit that you're doing letting another company, your former rival, do a hostile takeover of your company. He also basically made a jab at Hybe saying like, look, you guys also have to admit that you guys are hostilely taking over SM. You didn't consult any one of us before you inked this deal with Lee Soo-man to buy his shares, and then also make the bold claim of like, we're not even going to stop there. We're going to go all the way up to 40% to make sure we can secure control over the company. How? And then they even emphasized that last week with releasing who they want on the board of directors. And all those people were essentially Hybe affiliate, like literally people from Hybe, or Hybe affiliated people who would then run the board of directors, which would basically run SM. Now, a lot of you said like, oh, they'll be independent. They'll have like all of the different labels and stuff like that. They'll have like the production be independent. I do agree with him in the sense that he's saying that we never asked Hybe for help. And he called out his uncle and saying like, look, uncle, you went to Hybe to save your own butt. You did not go to Hybe to save SM. Because when you think about it, SM had its plan. SM secured a major whale of an investor for, extra capital to come in. SM has this plan. It wasn't as if SM was falling off a cliff and it needed Hybe to come in. Hybe is looking at this kind of like wounded gazelle and being like, this would be a good acquisition. A Hybe SM merger really solidifies one strong entity in Korea to compete on the global music market stage. Now, if you're thinking of, all right, in Korea, we have to band up economic and market power and also star power by bringing all of these artists together in order to then be unshakable on the global market, then I think this does make sense. And then just take the risk of it being too concentrated in one company. Just kind of trust that there will be other companies that will spring up, and then maybe YG and JYP will also get its act together and also grow up stronger, and then maybe there will be some new players coming in. But at least there will be a real heavy hitter that has been solidified and formed. And that has definitely been the Korean industrial export model, with a lot of the brands that you know now in around the world. A lot of their path has had a lot of tumultuous conflict within Korea, like a lot of hostile mergers and acquisitions, and a lot of things that a lot of Korean people have sacrificed here in order for that company to be strong worldwide. And so in that sense, okay, fine. I think, okay, yeah, a Hybe takeover of SM might be good. But how do people at SM feel? Now, this is the tricky thing about working with people, because these aren't factories and these aren't machines. Now, they did release a statement, 208 of them, in solidarity with the co-CEO, saying like, we are completely against this hostile acquisition. And so how would you feel in a way where, like, you're working for a company and this is you have to kind of understand with the SM thing, there's a pride issue. And this is something I wanted to bring up in a previous video, but I didn't know how exactly to word it because I didn't want it to come off so bad. But the SM people have a lot of pride because it's sort of like a Samsung situation. You're working for the best. And so even if you're abused, even if your hours are late, they're saying like, people work until like 2, 3 a.m. And then some of the choreographers, they get like a call at 3 a.m. and saying like, you have to change the choreography and have it for us at 9 a.m. And then they would go to like a rehearsal room at like 3 or 4 a.m. and practice all night and then come up with a choreo, like just horrible working conditions. But a salvo is essentially knowing that you work for SM. Suddenly that gets taken away. And suddenly you're not kind of in control of your destiny. And all of the power structure, the power lines that you have within the company, you just know that actually has its ceiling lowered, because on top of that is going to be a layer of directions and priorities coming from Hybe. As much as they want a multi-label system, suddenly you are going to be the underdog of the top dog of Hybe. And so just even the thought of them being under now Hybe really, and this is the part where I felt like, come on guys, just grow up a bit. But in the sense, do you want to acquire a company where your whole workforce is going to be so resentful, and at any moment they might try to get revenge? And I think that might be a little bit of an uncomfortable situation. And so they made a statement saying that they want to protect SM's unique identity. They said specifically, we cannot let SM's culture be subordinate to Hybe's capitalism. They also said that they avidly support the co-CEOs and their SM 3.0 multi-producing plans. So imagine also all of this, that even within the company, to get everybody on board to SM 3.0, that probably required a lot of internal discussions and meetings, and finally everybody was on board. And then a month later, it's like, no, Hybe's gonna take over. And then it's just like, everything is out the door again. And they're kind of like repeatedly traumatized, I think, about like working so hard to create a path for themselves, and then having like, Lee Soo-man before just like come in and say like, oh, put in ESG, planting trees and greenism, and everything's out the door. And I don't think that they don't want that. They don't want that kind of a situation. They also said, third, we're against the hostile M&A of Hybe and their attempts to enter the board. They have been trying to occupy SM through abnormal means, which we will be resisting. So obviously they have made their intentions clear that once you come in Hybe, you are not going to get a compliant labor force. You're going to meet up with resistance. You are going to get people who are going to be like guerrilla warfare trying to sabotage you. And if anything, if any group of employees, and yes, I mean to generalize because I have worked in media here, the type of people who are attracted to media, you better believe that you better be careful. And I'm sure Hybe already knows because they have the same types of people working over there, that those types of people are, if you piss them off, if you get on their bad graces, they will be able to initiate the worst type of psychological revenge compared to perhaps other industries. Not that other industries aren't as bad or skillful and they're kind of psychopaths in the workplace, but what I've noticed is that the entertainment type of people take the cake. Was he CEO material? I don't exactly know, because this is what I'm going to say about, the Korean mystique, is that everybody looks humble because they either are or they got a game in the back. But on the surface, the kind person and the manipulative person will use the same humble image. And he even talked about how he was I guess his dad is like a pastor or something. Yes, this kind kid, but has to speak up. And he even used the word 착해, 착한, and that means kind. And in the literal definition of it, it is a nice thing to be called, but in the workplace, in modern society, you don't want to be called 착한 or kind. It essentially means that you're kind of dumb or like ignorant or kind of a pushover or, like too kind-hearted for the workplace. And in a different video, I told you about somebody I worked with who I know she was some crazy psychopath because it was confirmed later, but she was even so good at tricking Korean people because all you need to do is check off the right strong boxes. And she cultivated on purpose that image of being 착해. And so if you are kind and if you are manipulative behind the scenes, then people kind of leave you alone because they don't think you're a threat. And so that was the wolf in sheep's clothing that she was operating. Now, me as a Korean American, I could see, yes, the things that she was, ticking off, like the boxes that were ticked, but those boxes to me mean less. And so just because you do those certain cues and kind of things like that, it doesn't make me then ignore or kind of like be relieved or whatever, and then not be able to see what else you were doing. And then a lot of her behavior it seemed inconsistent and it seemed like it was strained. And so I picked up on like how it was a fake. And so I wonder, is he truly 착해? And is he truly doing this whole thing about like, oh, I'm stepping down as CEO because I just want to go back to producing and saying like, I give up in this war? Because obviously when you look at the language from the employees, they're just getting this war started. And then he's joining the ranks, literally. Is he just trying to get the heat off of him so that he can then work more quietly behind the scenes and then launch the counterattack. This drama still makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable because it seems as if we've been tricked all of these years by Lee Soo-man, and a lot of the artists have been really starved, and a lot of the staff has been starved, and a lot of the shareholders have been starved. And I don't know if it's so good to reward him once again on his way out. I don't think that feels fair. On the other hand, if it's better for the overall good of K-pop, there's an argument to be made there. However, I am not convinced that this might be something that is, it might look shiny, it might look like too good to be true to pass up, and then once you get it, you open the box, just know what you're buying, please. Alright guys, well, what do you think? Put your comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.